Hello everyone, welcome to part 51 of my story. So at this point, I'm now in the custody of United States Marshal Services. So they escort myself along with several other individuals across a parking lot from the federal courthouse to the Miami-Dade County Detention Center. We are all processed. I go through the booking process. My information is taken. A photo of me is taken. My hair is weaved, so we go through the process of them cutting the weave out of my hair. I go through the whole dress out process, which is a strip search where you squat, cough, and then I'm given a gray all-in-one jumpsuit with a pair of brown panties, a brown sports bra, and some brown socks and some blue flat shoes. After that, I sit in a cell where someone comes over and pull me out and they take me over to what is considered medical. Um, the nurse at this detention center just asked me basic medical questions to see if I had any kind of medical conditions that they need to be made aware of. I didn't have any medical conditions. So then I was taken back to a cell where I waited for the rest of the ladies who were with me to be processed. And then we went our own separate ways after that. I went up to, I don't know what floor it was in this high rise, because once I was escorted onto this elevator, they told me to turn and face the wall, so I couldn't see what floor I was on. Eventually, they take me over to psych. They asked me some mental health questions, asked me if I'm thinking about harming myself. Have I ever thought about harming myself before? And all my answers were no. So they cleared me to be able to go to the dorm. I was taken to a dorm of with maybe about 125 females. I was given a cell assignment, which was my room assignment, and a bunk. I immediately went into the cell, got on the bed, and I just laid down. I could not believe that this was my life, that this was my current situation. I just did not know how I had come to this point in my life. I had made plenty of plans in my life. Prison was never part of any of them. The only hope I have in this moment is this appeal that my attorney told me that she would be immediately filing tomorrow. So as I lay on my bed, I just lay there with all these thoughts going through my mind. Basically, I'm very concerned about my kids at this time. I'm concerned about my two daughters at this point, because I know that they were taking it very hard, and I know once the word gets back to my family that everybody's going to be very, very sad and upset. For the first week that I was here at this detention center, I didn't eat anything. I only drank water. Um, every day somebody would come and tell me, hey, you need to come out, you need to eat. But I didn't come out. I didn't want to eat. I came out to take a shower and I went right back in again, and I just stayed there. Eventually, I met this nice girl who was from Fort Lauderdale, and she had just received her time on the same day as me. And she was in a dorm with me, and she was basically telling me how she was there for obstruction of justice, that her husband was a detective, and they were going through. She went through some of his files and seen he was investigating multiple people, none of whom she knew, and she contacted these people and let these people know that they were under investigation. This whole dorm that I was in was very, very, very diverse. When I first arrived, they wanted to know what was I, because most of the people in this dorm were Dominican, they were Colombian, they were Cubans, they were Haitians. They weren't Jada. I haven't made any phone calls or anything, and I know that my family has to be sick and worried about me. I haven't heard anything from my attorney. So the young lady that I befriended at this time, she said, have you gotten your ID and your PIN number? And I was like, no, they took a picture of me, but I haven't gotten anything. She said, yeah, you're supposed to go up to the counselor and get it. So she stood in line with me while I waited in line to see the counselor. And eventually I was given my identification with my inmate ID number, as well as a PIN number for me to be able to access the TrueLink system, which is, so with the help of this young lady, I'm able to enter my mom and two of my sister's phone numbers, and also enter a few email addresses that I knew off the top of my head. She then tells me I need to wait 1 hour before I'm able to access it. And then she tells me that it's 5 cents to send an email, and it's also 5 cents to receive one, and that it's $3.15 for a phone call per 15 minutes. And so I look into my account and I see the money is already there. Of course, it's been a whole week. I hadn't even thought about calling anybody. I had just been so stressed out about everything. So I get on the phone, and the first person I call is my sister. At this time, my sister is a federal officer. I contact her and she's heartbroken. She's crying immediately once she gets on the phone with me. It's breaking my heart, but I want to still remain strong. I'm telling her that I'm all right, that everything's okay, and I'm asking about my attorney. And my sister say, we've talked to your attorney. She's filed this appeal. She's waiting to hear back, but she said it may take a little time. So I want to know at this time, what does she mean by time? Because I've already been here for a week, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be leaving here as soon as she hears something back. Well, my sister said it's going to be a process, but she did say that she'll be down to talk to you as soon as she hears something back. So I was a little relieved that, my attorney was doing what she promised me that she would do, which was continue to fight for me. So we told that I was fine, that, I was okay. And then she said, well, we did mail you off some pictures a few days ago. You should be done got them by now. And I was like, no, I hadn't received anything yet. And she said, well, I think Mom wrote you a letter. Well, it was time for me to get off the phone, and I promised her that I would call her back a little later. And so I get off the phone with my sister, and I feel a little bit better. I've spoken with somebody who loves and cares about me, and I know that even though I'm on the inside and I'm limited on my resources, that I have people on the outside that are going to fight for me. And so they do make. When I was thinking about that appeal, the only thing that I thought about was this appeal being approved and them calling me, telling me, pack out, that I was going home. I go back to my cell, I get in the bed, and I feel a little bit better. I decide that, hey, maybe tomorrow I'm going to come out my room. And so the next day comes, I come out my room, and then I get called down. It's my attorney. So my attorney, I'm taken out the dorm, and I'm brought to a visiting area where my attorney is sitting, and she's waiting for me. And I can't tell anything by the look on her face at this time. She doesn't show any expressions of being. Immediately asks me how I'm doing, how are they treating me, how do I feel, and everything. And I'm basically telling her that I want to leave, that I don't want to be at this place. And I'm asking her, have you heard anything back? And that's when she looked at me and she basically tells me, well, I'm so sorry. I wish I had better news for you right now, but I don't. I filed the immediate appeal and they upheld it. So the next step is we will have to go to the appellate court. And so I'm saying, well, how long is that going to take? And she's saying, it's going to take a while. So she's basically telling me at this time that I'm going to be transferred they have within 6 weeks to transfer me from this facility to the Oklahoma transfer facility. And so I'm asking her, what is that? And she's basically saying they're going to fly you from here over to Oklahoma where you will receive your destination. She said, so I'm happy, but I'm not so happy because it feels like this is so final at this time and I don't want this to be final. I continue at this facility for maybe 4 or 5 more weeks. Eventually, they do call me and tell me to pack out, that I'm going to be leaving. And so I'm asking all these questions about, when I leave, where am I going? What day am I leaving on? They're basically telling me we can't give you that information. Somebody's going to come in early in the morning. You'll be woke up on that day and you'll know that you're leaving then. So I call my family and I let them know that I'm basically about to be leaving soon, but I don't know when. But for them to keep checking the system if they don't hear from me. And so eventually I get on the phone and I'm talking to one of his baby moms. And so I'm talking to her and she's basically telling me how he was asking her, could she do work for him? And I was like, are you serious? And she was like, yeah, he's basically asking me, could I do work? But I'm telling him that I cannot do it. So now he's asking the other baby mom to do it. And so I'm like, what in the hell? So he would have me locked up in prison, himself locked up in prison, and he has the audacity to be asking the mothers of his kids, who he has never had any dealings with, can they do work for him? Well, on the outside, eventually I talked to a good friend of mine, and the friend is basically telling me, hey, I heard that the feds went inside the prison where the other baby mama works, and they took her whole computer out of her office. And so I'm like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, I think something is going on with her.